All right, happy Friday, happy Friday, happy Friday. Welcome to After Dark. It is the 1923 rewatch, and if you haven't seen us, go back and catch up on episode 1. But today we're going to talk about episode 2, Nature's Empty Throne, episode 2. So we're going to get you primed and ready for the weekend, ready to watch episode 3. By the time this show is done, you'll be caught up on what's going on in 1923, and you'll be ready to for the weekend. Jeb, what happened? We are presented by Dead Soxy, by the way. What happened? And give us a brief rundown. What happened? Episode 2.
Sure. Well, this episode picks up all 3 storylines that we left last time. So it starts off in Africa and it kind of ends in Africa. So I'll start with that one, where Spencer Dutton was attacked by a leopard in the last show. So at this one, it cuts in and he's fighting the leopard off. He's able to actually kind of stab it and get it away from him. But unfortunately, it turns on one of his guides, kills him. The other 2 were able to kill it. And then Spencer lives through this attack. And then he has kind of a blow up with the camp director, and that's the end of the first little part. So you find out what happened to him. Then it cuts over to the Yellowstone Ranch, because we ended that one with his...
You had Auburn on your mind.
Yeah. That ended with Jack Dutton over at that ranch being shot at. So we want to cut over and see what happened with him. And as it turns out, he was not hit, but his horse was. So he's pinned under his horse, and these sheep herders are now coming after him, looking to kill him. But luckily, his family shows up in time. His uncle, well, I don't know what you call him, great uncle, but the Harrison Ford character is able to show up with his posse there, basically save him. And they wrestle up these sheep herders. They kill a couple of them just in the shooting, and then basically just pistol whip Braun, or the head sheep herder. I'm not sure what it is. Banner Creighton, that's his name in this show. I'm just going to always call him Braun. I'm sorry. But basically pistol whip him a bit, round them all up, and that's kind of the end of that little arc at the beginning, just to let you know that they have them and that boys live. So we basically wrap up all the cliffhangers from the last show just right at the beginning. Both boys lived, as we all kind of assumed they would. Then they cut to the third storyline, which is the Rainwater, the school where the Native Americans are being taught to be more white, and they're being taught how to clean a house, sweep, do laundry, that type of thing. And yet again, somebody has something to say to Miss Rainwater about her not wanting to give up her heritage and still speaking her language. And she gets into another fight with a nun, and she gets thrown into a hot box. So that's how her storyline's going. Then after that, they just kind of jump back and forth, so you kind of get continuations of the storyline, which is really interesting. They go back to the Yellowstone, and there they've rustled up the sheep. They decided they're just going to give all the sheep away to the reservation and the Native Americans on the reservation, because he knows they're starving and could use it. And this is his punishment. And that's kind of what I thought would be the end of that punishment, but it's not. So he takes the sheep away from them and then decides to string up all of the sheep herders, puts them on their horse, ties ropes around their neck, and basically leaves them there to either live or die just based off how their horse treats them. And the interesting part about that is I'm pretty sure before they even ride away, all of them are hanging except one, Braun, of course. They go over to the reservation. The Native Americans there are very hesitant at first to accept any kind of gifts. Don't even, and you kind of, I think historically can figure out why that would be. But eventually they understand that they're being given the sheep with no strings attached, and they are grateful at that point. And that kind of ties up that storyline, and then they move back to the Native American storyline again, where Rainwater is now getting out of the hot box and is very damaged, and she ends up being assaulted by one of the nuns, sexually assaulted by one of the nuns, but is saved by the one that she attacked, who then threatens to kill her. So, but while that's which is real interesting. But while that's going on, it turns out that she has a grandmother out there that's looking for her. The grandmother is trying to get her back because there is a school closer to the reservation where she lives. So she's hoping she can get her granddaughter to come back and live with her. Of course, she's given the runaround because of how it is with, relationships back then between whites and Native Americans. So we don't know how that's going to go. She's still trying to fight to get her back home, though. And so that's kind of that whole storyline. And they do go back to show you what happened with Braun. With Banner Creighton, the sheep herder. It does turn out that he does find a way to get out of it. So he's still alive. And there's actually a pretty interesting conversation between Harrison Ford and his nephew, Jack Dutton, nephew, son. I don't know what you call him. Nephew once removed. Nephew. I don't know. Yeah, we'll just say nephew. He has a pretty interesting, and actually his actual nephew John as well. They're all there having a conversation, and he does get into a nice little debate about why he wanted one of them to live, at least one, because he wants people to know what happened, which that could interestingly backfire. But basically, it's to scare people so they don't come and do this again. Which I understand that. And then they kind of end the episode by going back to Africa, and they have Spencer Dutton back in Nairobi, I believe, so a city where he's basically based out of, because that job is over that he was on, and he gets told he's going to be sent on another job, which is fine. But he also runs into a young woman there, Alexandra, who is from Great Britain. She is there on like a engagement thing, I guess. I don't know. I've never heard of destination engagements, but
announcement.
But apparently that's what they had, a destination engagement announcement. So she's there with the guy she's going to get married to. It becomes pretty obvious that she didn't pick this guy. This was an arranged marriage, kind of a family thing. She's not real happy. She's looking for something more. And old Spencer Dutton just happens to show up at the same time, looking how he does with his wild and carefree life. So she, her best friend does a good job of kind of blocking it for a little while, but just can't sustain that. And eventually it looks like this little heiress is going to run off with Spencer Dutton as he goes on his next adventure to hunt a spotted hyena this time. But that's how they ended it. So that's the whole episode, just in a nutshell.
All right. So, yeah, like I said, aforementioned, we are presented by Dead Soxy. Thank you, Jeb. And Dead Soxy, they are an NIL partnership with Ole Miss, but they do Alabama socks, Tennessee socks, Georgia socks. They do all kind of unique designs as well. Regardless of sport, they're just cool, unique designs. You can get a variety of different things with them. You visit deadsoxy.com with the promo code
After Dark.
You get your 25% off on all your orders with that promo code. So visit deadsoxy.com to get your collection of socks now. As always, stay soxy. So let's react. So a lot happened in this episode. Nature's Empty Throne. It starts off on a shot of adrenaline. You open the scene with an extreme close up of the cheetah.
Leopard.
And
the leopard.
Told you it was a leopard. So it shows you how much I know what these animals are. But you open, regardless of that, you open the scene on such an intense note. They were able, like I said, they were able to wrestle away, which you weren't sure if that was going to happen. That leopard was getting after Spencer pretty good. So I was kind of worried. I was like, oh God, okay, he's not going to survive this. And then I'm trying to figure out how he's going to get away from this leopard, and he was able to kill it. So just the opening scene draws you in, because episode 1 was kind of slow. This one gets going fast and kind of trails off at the end.
And I rewatched it, which I'm really glad I did, because the first time I watched it, I didn't really catch why the leopard let him go and then went after someone else. But Steve pointed out on the rewatch, he actually is able to stab the leopard to get it away from him. So because generally once those things latch on, you can't get them off. But I think he was using a gun to keep him from biting, and then even though he was getting clawed pretty good, but then used the knife to stab him to get him off. Because the fact that he got away with as little injuries as he did is amazing.
Yeah, and obviously, I've seen this show potentially more than anybody else in the continental United States, so I can't really play the reaction game that they're playing. But I can add some interesting facts. If you've watched 1883, you know that his sister passed away. But part of that, she received a knife from her boyfriend, who was a Native American scout or something like that. Well, Spencer Dutton kept that knife, and it was that knife that he used to stab the leopard. So whenever 1883 to 1923, that is a kind of a joining moment.
Interesting.
Okay.
Well, when the ranchers handed the sheep over to him, one of the Native Americans, the one who accepted him, handed something to him and told him to give it to Jacob Dutton as a thank you. And that kind of looked like a knife too, so they might just have a whole bunch of Indian knives here.
Yeah, I was wondering what that was myself.
Seems like it's a tradition out there, but
yeah.
Well, let's go to the rancher scene where we open up with Jacob Dutton underneath the horse, and he obviously was shot at by the sheep herders and that whole
Jack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's Jack.
Jack. Yeah. Okay.
Jacob is Harrison Ford. I know it's confusing. Okay. They're all J's.
They're all J's. Yeah, they all kind of run together. So Jack ends up underneath the horse, and they come to his rescue, and they break up that whole scene, and that happened about like I thought it would. It would just be kind of a standoff where they would surround them, and the sheep herders would know that they're outmatched, and they would surrender. And I didn't know that they would get hanged like they did.
Well, and I predicted a hanging, but I thought they would at least take them back and make a show of making it legal. But no, not at all.
I didn't think all of them would have got hung.
I think the phrase is country justice.
Yeah. Which you got to wonder if that's going to come back and bite him in the butt, because I mean, it's
he
1923. It's not just frontier justice anymore, although it's still pretty close.
It still is Montana.
He did say leave one to tell the story.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. The conversation was interesting because he said he wanted somebody to live, and so he's they obviously at that point didn't know if anyone did, but I'm not sure I'd want somebody to live if I did that. I get the point of trying to scare other people, but at the same time, what if the law actually does come looking for you? I mean, kind of hard to defend. He was trespassing. I mean, you could say attempted murder, but again, you didn't have a trial.
No.
That's why I thought they'd do the show of a trial, but oh well.
Well, I mean, he was a man of his word. He took his herd.
Yeah.
I mean, he gave it away. I don't think he ever said that, but I mean, he took his herd, so good for him. But this story is far from over. This arc is far from over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how Banner Creighton reacts to this. If he tries to go to the authorities, or if he just becomes a vigilante and starts trying to kill him. I don't know. It'd be interesting.
That's my prediction on that story. I think he's going to become not to get into predictions already, but I think he's going to come back and retaliate somehow.
Yes. Yep.
Either retaliate on Jacob and Jack and their crew, or on their herd and take out some of their herd.
Yeah.
I didn't think about the herd. That's a good point.
Or steal some of their herd, or set fire to the grass, or do something like that.
I think it's important to know that whenever the herd got taken, every sheep herder in Montana lost their way of life.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was the whole group.
The way they put money on the table for their family, all of that is gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and their families are still left behind. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know why I keep trying to turn it into a legal thing. Maybe it's a legal background.
It's because you went
You're
to
a
law
legal
school.
eagle.
Yeah.
You're a legal eagle, man.
And the other show I'm watching right now is Suits, so I'm just really into law right now. But anyway,
yeah. So yeah, it's going to be some sort of retaliation or some sort of extortion for reparations for those families or something like that.
Yeah, I agree.
What's going to happen next to rainwater? You guys think? Because that right there it just shows how bad we treated the Native Americans back in those days, and it's kind of sad. I'm like, my gosh, this is, I kind of feel bad for the Native Americans. What happened?
I think she's going to run away.
I was going to say there's not much that can be done because it's not like it was going to change. It didn't change during that time period. So, that's just how we treated them. Maybe her grandmother gets her out and she's able to get out of the Dakota.
I think she escapes and then finds her grandmother, like not intentionally.
Yeah.
But I think they cross paths, and maybe it's one of those like she doesn't realize it, and then. But I think she's going to escape. I think she's going to come after somebody again.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like she's just going to sit tight till her grandmother gets to her. So
no, absolutely not.
She's going to fight every nun in that place or that main one. It seems like every time something is said.
I know, and now she's had her life threatened too. I don't know.
Right,
it'll be interesting to see how she reacts.
Right.
Yeah.
Because she can't win the fight. I mean, in the end, if one of them wants to kill her, they're going to kill her. So maybe running away is the only option. I don't know.
Right. But I mean, I kind of agree with it because I mean, you saw the picture or the shot of the food. I mean, there's maggots running around in it and everything. I would not eat that at all.
Oh no, I'd definitely be trying to get away.
Absolutely.
And either that or she's going to try to band everybody together, which you saw a little bit of that too, where she was, trying to get people on their side because the rest of them at that school are scared out of their mind.
And I think they would definitely look to her as kind of a leader of that group. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she's
That
already
would be
fought.
interesting.
She's already fought the nun, so I mean, she's.
Everybody knows she's going to put her money where her mouth is.
Right.
She's going to follow through.
Yeah.
And then,
maybe.
I think that's. I think they're going to come. I think it's going to be a big chase scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With and then I hope they don't catch her, but
right.
Yeah.
It's really interesting for me to hear what you guys are expecting whenever y'all are talking about what y'all think is coming next, being somebody that knows what is coming next.
Mm-hmm.
And just to hear the way it's talked about and everything, it's really interesting to me. I mean, this is kind of
how much of you fighting not telling us?
Yeah,
like,
a lot,
whether we're right or
because
not.
I'm gonna tell you, episode 3 and episode 4 are some of the best episodes. I mean, they're fantastic. They're 10 times what tonight was.
Okay. I got a weekend assignment here. I got my new ride, so I'm going to be back to producing shorts.
All right.
So we're good to go, man.
Nice.
So maybe we'll get 1 million views on this one, and that Zoxy can pay for my ride, the rest of my ride.
Right. Yeah. and then Spencer, of course, getting the girl at the end. That's
I saw that coming from a mile away.
Yeah, I could.
As soon as they approached him at that bar, I was like, as soon as she saw him, I could see the look in her eye. I didn't know at the time. I didn't realize she was engaged or had an arranged engagement.
I didn't either.
But you knew as soon as she approached him, you're like, okay, she's gonna. Something's gonna happen here.
Okay, do y'all understand what happened there?
As far as what? I mean, I know she.
Alexandra went over and approached him because Jennifer, the friend, was infatuated with it, and she knew that he was potentially Spencer Dutton.
Mm-hmm.
And they thought it was, and they wanted somebody to basically confirm that it was him. So that's the reason Alexandria went over there.
Yeah.
And that's the reason she said, "You're famous. I heard you killed one with your bare hands." He was talking about the leopard that he just moved away from. That word had already traveled to where they are. And Jennifer was infatuated. But she did realize that when Spencer said dying was the most alive you would ever feel and everything, she saw the look on Alexandra's face, because at that point right there, it was over. And if you look at the background in that scene, Jennifer is panicked. Yeah. Because she's in full maid of honor mode at that point, trying to get her to the altar. Mm-hmm. And it's like, she's engaged, sir. And all of that to get done and try and save this thing. But yeah, this whole thing started because Jennifer knew that was Spencer Dutton and wanted that confirmed. That's the whole reason Alexandra went over there.
So it's her fault.
But Alexandra definitely wanted a way out. Like, she was not happy where she was and what was happening. So
she saw that as, okay, this is my shot. And she shot her shot.
How much of this is he's the right guy, or just he's the right guy at the right time? Just the one who was there.
And I think he has a car.
And he has a car.
Yeah.
He's the right guy because he's not this other guy.
Yeah.
And you find out as the story goes on in that, of her sense of adventure. She wants to get out and experience that type of adventure too. So
I'm just wondering how long that'll last the first time she comes face to face with a spotted hyena, which is what
right. We're going to find out. I'm sure we'll find out in episode 3.
Everybody likes that Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter, until you're actually facing a crocodile. And then you might not want to be him anymore.
No.
But I'd never wanted to be. I just wanted to watch him on TV.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a guy on TikTok that walks through the Everglades and stuff, and I'm just like,
I follow him. I like him. Yeah. Walk barefoot through there at night.
Yeah.
What in the world?
Yeah, he's crazy. I like him.
I think they have 2 words for that. Florida man.
Florida man, yeah.
Exactly.
It's a fun follow for us.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun to watch. You're right. I'm not going to try it. He keeps saying, don't try this. I'm a professional. I'm like, yeah, I'm not
Don't worry about
it.
You ain't got to worry about that.
Yeah.
But way back when I saw this live, and whenever I was in y'all's position, I did come to the opinion at that point that Spencer Dutton was by far the best Dutton so far.
easily the most badass Dutton.
And I was trying to think of like top Duttons in the series, and you know, if you haven't seen Yellowstone, you haven't seen Yellowstone, but I was sitting there thinking there, and there's only two that I would even put in the same category where Spencer is. One's Spencer, and the other is like Casey from the current season or current series.
Yellowstone,
yeah, and those are probably the two best ones. But the similarity, Jeb pointed out last week, that there's a similarity between this group of Duttons and that group of Duttons.
It's interesting that you chose the two veterans.
Well, yeah, you see Navy behind me. Yeah.
Steve served with him.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love Kevin Costner's character from Yellowstone, but I get what you're saying. And Beth. Yellowstone's just a great show. You got to watch it. All those characters are great.
Okay, I know this is a Yellowstone reaction, but Beth, if she was a normal person, if she was a real person, would be in prison.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. She
Most
celebrated
of the characters on the show would probably be in prison.
Yeah, she celebrated on this show, but if this was a real character, it'd be in prison.
Mm-hmm.
Those people do exist.
Even on the show, if she didn't have the money backing her up she'd be in prison.
Yeah.
If she wasn't a rich white girl. She's crazy. But no, I agree with you. I like Spencer a lot. I wasn't like at first when I was watching the show, this whole ending scene with the love interest and all that didn't really have my attention very much of it until near the end. I think that actually could be good, but my first thought was Alexandra, they're going to bring her on and just kill her right away. But now I thought about it, I thought, no, there's no way. She looks like a character that's going to be here all season, and we're going to hear a lot more of. So I guess she's going to end up loving hunting. I don't know.
Oh, by the way, just put your seatbelts on. Alexandra is probably the second best character on this show.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
And as long as they don't make her too one-dimensional, because that's most of the reasons I don't like love stories, is all ends up being one of them is just a one-dimensional. One of them you're focused on, and the other one's just a throwaway character.
Mm-hmm.
But if they actually develop her, then I'll like it.
Yeah, and I almost gave away a major spoiler there. But it'll be interesting to see her arc and for you guys to follow that.
Okay.
And basically another thing that has to happen that you're going to see is like the first 2 episodes of Spencer Dutton. I think I referred to somebody that's wanting to commit suicide. That's not what I meant. It's just somebody that doesn't necessarily care.
Yeah.
He's drinking just because he doesn't care what happens to him. He's PTSD'd out the wazoo.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see now that Spencer and Alexa has come together. There's that dynamic that's going to have to play as well.
Okay. And I think people deal with PTSD.
She's going to try to get him out of that. I can predict. She's going to try to be that voice of reason. She's going to try to be that purpose of why he shouldn't live so carelessly and so.
Well, I mean, women do change, man. So
not at all.
Yeah, let's move into predictions. Episode 3 predictions, which is I Bleav that title of that episode is "The War Has Come Home." Episode 3 predictions.
Okay. I think Rainwater tries to whistle blow on the sexual assault, gets reprimanded, and then tries to run away. I think the Yellowstone Ranch War, I think I keep wanting to call him Braun now too, because of Jeb. Banner, yeah. So I think Banner goes into town and tries to drum up some stuff against the Duttons there, and then I think with Alexandra and Spencer, I think you're going to see them go away, and she's going to try, like, he's not really like wanting to partake as much as she does, and she's going to try to like get in his head and get to know him and all that stuff. Just in episode 3. It's going to be the beginning of like Alexandra trying to make it a thing with Spencer.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to predict for this one. I do think Banner Creighton is going to do something. I mean, obviously, I think that's going to be a big central like antagonist of the show is going to be him versus Yellowstone. So it's going to be interesting to see how he handles it. I don't know if he goes back and tries to go to the livestock commission. I mean, there's not much point in that if that's who Jacob, Dutton is the guy that runs it. So does he try to go to the federal authorities? I don't even know who it would be back in 1923. It's not like you can go to the FBI. So whoever, U.S. Marshals, I don't know, to try and get some kind of justice for his men. But
Steve,
that may be, yeah, 1923. When you were young,
the sheriff
in your early 20s. No, yes, that's the thing. I don't know what he's going to be able to do, but he's got to try and do something. So, because I think that's going to be a big part of the fight through this show is basically Jacob Dutton having to tame that whole area and bring it all under his control, more than it already is. As far as the Africa thing, I have no idea. My guess is Alexandra's going to end up loving hunting, that she's going to get that thrill that he gets from almost dying, and that could be a problem because they could start feeding off each other. It's being a little more reckless than the other and liking it, and maybe it ends up getting her killed. I have no idea, but no, it certainly won't be in the next episode. So that's my basic predictions. Now, as far as Rainwater, I don't know, because I don't think she will trust she wouldn't put any trust into the people who run that place. So I don't know if there's any point in even trying to tell people what happened. At some point, she's going to either have to try and, like you said, either mount the insurrection or run. And I'm guessing at some point she'll just end up running.
Yeah, I'm kind of in agreement on the Rainwater arc. But the Banner and the Yellowstone, I'm getting kind of like Hatfield versus McCoy's type feeling here. I feel like there's going to be a few deaths. I'm not sure who in that arc, but at the end, I'm sure Banner will be reprimanded for that. And on the African side, I agree. I think both of them is going to feed off each other, and she's going to get into that more of what he does. But on the flip side is what happens in the future episodes if one of them is really seriously hurt or in a situation. And I don't think that Spencer will flinch, but will she flinch if he's like in a battle with this spotted hyena or any other kind of creatures in the future episodes, and he needs her to shoot the animal? Can she do it? I'm anxious to see if that happens in the future.
That's true.
Okay.
Also,
Now,
what about the engagement? Like, what about that? Like, they're just going to let her ride off into the sunset? Probably not. There's going to be something with that.
That could be.
She told that guy to find someone who really loved him. So hopefully he does that. Maybe her best friend will marry him. I don't know.
They're gonna come chasing after her, I imagine.
Yeah,
okay.
Probably.
And I'm not going to spoil anything, but I am going to let you know, after you've given all your predictions and everything, you have not met the big bad of this series yet.
Okay.
Ooh,
interesting.
all right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All
right. Well, episode 3, here I come.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You won't meet him in episode 3 either.
Okay. Well, we'll get there.
Gotta wait a while, huh?
Yeah. The thing you need to remember about this show is that it's not done like a true season. It's not an 8-episode season where everything's done and it reaches a conclusion, and then they do it at something else in season 2. No, it's basically a 16-episode season. So you get the first 8 episodes this season, and then more is going to come, but it's going to be a continuation of the storyline. It's kind of like at the end of the first movie, first Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
Well, as long as they can finish it, because they did season 5 of Yellowstone, gave us half of it, and I don't know what's happening with the second half. If they're ever going to give us that. So.
Yeah.
When the writers decide to not strike anymore.
Sounds like Kevin Costner's walked away from it too. So
yeah,
they reach an agreement.
I'm not sure which one, but they're talking about for 1944 or something like that. Might be Matthew McConaughey.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
All right.
So should be pretty good. But as the season moves and we move closer to the end, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
All right. So this has been the rewatch of 1923 episode 2, Nature's Empty Throne. We hope if you haven't watched it yet, we hope you enjoy it, and then come back to this and see if you were right or wrong. So if you haven't watched it, and you've made it this far, then we already spoiled it for you. But anyway, episode 3 is coming up. This show is just getting good. I'm hooked now, so this is great. So After Dark commentary and reactions, 1923 rewatch, Nature's Empty Throne, presented by Dead Soxy. For Steve, Jake, and Jeb, I'm Corey. Catch us on all our platforms. You can catch us every Wednesday night, SEC After Dark. You can catch Jake on Tide Talk Live. I think y'all go live every Tuesday night.
For the most part, yeah. We try to do a live show once a week. Yep.
And then Jeb, I've already forgotten the new show name.
Worth a watch.
Worth a watch. I'll have to get used to that. Because I just got used to You Lost the Plot, but worth a watch. That's going to be a great one when you do finally produce it. Stephen Willis just reached. He's just eclipsed not too long ago, not in the distant past, the 1 million mark. He's also rapidly approaching 4,000 subscribers on Locked On Ole Miss, so be sure to check him out. I'm approaching 500. I'm 130 shy. On Bleav In Georgia Dawgs, so make sure you go and subscribe there as well. We talk all things Georgia athletics, SEC After Dark. We all join forces and talk everything Southeastern Conference, whether it's football or culture and everything in between. We talk about it. So we talk about Southern culture and NFL and everything. We kind of talk about everything. We go off the rails. That's kind of the branding of this. That's kind of the branding of this. It's the brand of this entire channel. Right here, we talk 1923. Jeb's going to talk Worth a Watch, and then you're going to see our YouTube shorts all in between. So, got a lot of great content coming on this channel. Going to be brought to you by Dead Soxy, and then other sponsors will hopefully join in. And if you want to sponsor, by all means, Paramount Plus. If you want to carry us, let's do it. So. That's going to do it for us. Have a great weekend. We'll see you back here next week. You'll see us all over social media as always. But we hope you enjoy, and so long. See you later, and we'll catch you back next time.
Take it easy.
All right.
Peace.